Good morning. Welcome back to Ladybug Grace Bible in a Year edition. Today is February 22nd, and what we're going to do today is read Leviticus 12 and 13, do Psalm 47, do Luke 14, and then go circle back and do Proverbs 22. So if you're looking at the thumbnail, you're seeing that it is not in that order, but if this is your first day here, welcome. But Proverbs was read last month, so I don't want to. If you're only here for the new stuff, I just want to present that to you. And I'm probably going to not do Proverbs next month. I'll just tell you that it's there. So let's go to Leviticus 12 and 13. Purification after childbirth. The Lord said to Moses, "Say to the Israelites, a woman who becomes pregnant and gives birth to a son will be ceremonially unclean for 7 days, just as she is unclean during her monthly period. On the 8th day, the boy is to be circumcised. Then the woman must wait 33 days to be purified from bleeding. She must not touch anything sacred or go to the sanctuary until the days of her purification are over. If she gives birth to a daughter, for 2 weeks the woman will be unclean, as during her period. Then she must wait 66 days to be purified from her bleeding. Then the days of the purification for your son and daughter are over. She is to bring a priest to the entrance to the tent of meeting, a year-old lamb for a burnt offering, and a young pigeon or a dove for a sin offering. He shall offer them before the Lord to make atonement for her, and then she will be ceremonially clean from her flow of blood. These are the regulations for the women who give birth to a boy or a girl. But if she cannot afford a lamb, she is to bring 2 doves or 2 young pigeons, one for burnt offering and the other for a sin offering. In this way, the priest will make atonement for her, and she will be clean." That is the end of Leviticus 12. It's a short chapter. And we're at 2:05. Okay. Now we're going to go to Leviticus 13. Regulations about dealing skin diseases. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron, "When anyone has a swelling or a rash or a shiny spot on their skin, they may be defiling skin diseases. They must be brought to Aaron the priest, or to one of his sons who is a priest. The priest will examine the sore on the skin, and if the hair in the sore has turned white and the sore appears to be more than skin deep, it is a defiling skin disease. When the priest examines that person, he shall pronounce them ceremonially unclean. If the shiny spot on the skin is white, but does not appear to be more than skin deep, and the hair in it is not turned white, the priest is to isolate the affected person for 7 days. On the 7th day, give me that. You're not doing that during my video. Stop it. You have plenty of other things to chew on. Sorry about that. Go chew on your bully stick. When the priest examines that person, he shall be pronounced them ceremonially unclean. If the shiny spot on the skin is white, but does not appear to be more than skin deep, and the hair in it is not turned white," he's going for the other one, so you'll hear it again. "The priest is to isolate the affected person for 7 days. On the 7th day, the priest is to examine them, and if he sees the sore is unchanged and has not spread in the skin, he is to isolate them for another 7 days. On the 7th day, the priest is to examine them again, and if the sore has faded and has not spread in the skin, the priest shall pronounce them clean. It is only a rash. They must wash their clothes, and they will be clean. But if the rash does spread in their skin after they have shown themselves to be pronounced clean, they must appear before the priest again. The priest is to examine that person, and if the rash has spread in the skin, he shall pronounce them unclean. It is a defiling skin disease. When anyone has a defiling skin disease, they must be brought to the priest. The priest is to examine them, and if their skin is a white swelling in the skin that has turned the hair white, and if there is raw flesh in the swelling, it is a chronic skin disease, and the priest shall pronounce them unclean. He is not to isolate them because they are already unclean. If the disease breaks out all over their skin, and so far as the priest can see it, it covers all the skin of the affected person from head to foot, the priest is to examine them, and if the disease has covered their whole body, he shall pronounce them clean, since it has all turned white. They are clean. But whenever raw flesh appears on them, they will be unclean. When the priest sees the raw flesh, he shall pronounce them unclean. The raw flesh is unclean. They have a defiling disease. If the raw flesh changes and turns white, they must go to the priest. The priest is to examine them. If the sores have turned white, the priest shall pronounce the affected person clean, that they will be clean. This is very confusing for me. I hope this is making sense to you guys. When someone has a boil on their skin and it heals, and in the place where the boil was, a white swelling or reddish white spot appears, they must present themselves to the priest. The priest is to examine it, and it appears to be more than skin deep, and the hair in it has turned white. The priest shall pronounce that person unclean. If it is a defiling skin disease that has broken out where the boil was, but if when the priest examines it there is no white hair in it, and it is not more than skin deep and has faded, then the priest is to isolate them for 7 days. If it is spreading in the skin, the priest shall pronounce them unclean. It is a defiling disease. But if the spot is unchanged, is not spread, it is only a scar from the boil, and the priest shall pronounce them clean. When someone has a burn on their skin, and a reddish white or white spot appears in the raw flesh of the burn, the priest is to examine the spot, and if the hair in it has turned white, and it appears to be more than skin deep, it is a defiling disease that has broken out in the burn. The priest shall pronounce them unclean. It is a defiling skin disease. But if the priest examines it, and there is no white hair in the spot, and if it is not more than skin deep and has faded, then the priest is to isolate them for 7 days. On the 7th day, the priest is to examine that person. If it is spreading in the skin, the priest shall pronounce them unclean, if it is a defiling skin disease. If, however, the spot is unchanged and has not spread in the skin, but has faded, it is a swelling from the burn, and the priest shall pronounce them clean. It is only a scar from the burn. If a man or woman has a sore on their head or chin, the priest is to examine the sore, and if it appears to be more than skin deep, and the hair in it is yellow and thin, the priest shall pronounce them unclean. It is a defiling skin disease on the head or chin. But if, when the priest examines the sore, it does not seem to be more than skin deep, and there is no black hair in it, then the priest is to isolate the affected person for 7 days. On the 7th day, the priest is to examine the sore, and if it is not spread and there is no yellow hair in it, it does not appear to be more than skin deep, then the man or woman must shave themselves, except for the affected area, and the priest is to keep them isolated another 7 days. On the 7th day, the priest is to examine the sore. If it is not spread in the skin and appears to be no more than the skin deep, the priest shall pronounce them clean. They must wash their clothes, and they will be clean. But if the sore does spread in the skin after they are pronounced clean, the priest is to examine them. And if he finds that the sore has spread in the skin, he does not need to look for yellow hair. They are unclean. If, however, the sore is unchanged so far as the priest can see, and a black hair has grown in it, the affected person is healed. They are clean, and the priest shall pronounce them clean. When a man or woman has white spots on the skin, the priest is to examine them, and the spots are a dull white. It is a harmless rash that has broken out in the skin. They are clean. A man who has lost his hair and is bald is clean. If he has lost his hair from the front of his scalp and has a bald forehead, he is clean. But if he has a reddish white sore on his bald head or forehead, it is a defiling disease breaking out in his head and forehead. The priest is to examine him, and if the swollen sore on his head or forehead is reddish white, like a defiling skin disease, the man is diseased and unclean. The priest shall pronounce him unclean because of the sore on his head. Anyone with such a defiling disease must wear torn clothes. Let their hair be unkept. Cover the lower part of their face and cry out, "Unclean, unclean." As long as they have the disease, they remain unclean. They must live alone. They must live outside the camp. Regulations about defiling molds. As far as any fabric that is spoiled with a defiling mold, any woolen or linen clothing, any wooden or knitted material or linen or wood, any leather or anything made of leather. Sorry, something distracted me. If the affected area in the fabric, the leather, the woven or knitted material, or any leather article is greenish or reddish, it is defiling mold and must be shown to the priest. The priest is to examine the affected area and isolate the article for 7 days. On the 7th day, he is to examine it, and if the mold has spread in the fabric, the woven or knitted material, or leather, whatever its use, is a persistent defiling mold. The article is unclean. He must burn the fabric. The woven or knitted material of wood or linen, or any leather article that has been spoiled because the defiling mold is persistent, the article must be burned. But if when the priest examines it, the mold is not spread in the fabric, the woven or knitted material, or leather article, he shall order that the spoiled area be washed. Then he is to isolate for another 7 days. After the article has been washed, the priest examines it again, and if the mold has not changed its appearance, even though it is not spread, it is unclean. Burn it no matter which side of the fabric has been spoiled. If when the priest examines it, the mold has faded after the article has been washed, he is to tear the spoiled area out of the fabric, the leather, or the woven or knitted material. But if it reappears in the fabric, the woven or knitted material, or the leather article is spreading mold. Whatever has the mold must be burned. Any fabric, woven or knitted material, or any leather article that has been washed and is rid of mold must be washed again. Then it will be clean. These are the regulations concerning defiling mold in woolen or linen clothing, woven or knitted material, and any leather article, for pronouncing them clean or unclean. That is the end of Leviticus 13. Now we're going to go to Psalm 47. Psalm 47. The theme is God is still King of the world. All nations of the earth will eventually recognize his lordship. Clap your hands, all you nations. Shout to God with cries of joy. For the Lord Most High is awesome. The great kings over all the earth. He subdued nations under us, people under our feet. He chose our inheritance for us, the pride of Jacob, whom he loved. God has ascended among shouts of joy, the Lord among the shouting of trumpets. Sing praises to God, sing praises to our King. Sing praises, for the God is King of all earth. Sing praise to him. Sing to him a psalm of praise. God reigns over the nations. God is seated on his holy throne. The nobles of the nations assemble as the people of the God of Abraham. For the kings of the earth belong to God. He is greatly exalted. That is the end of Psalm 47. And we're going to go to Luke 14. Jesus heals a man with a swollen limbs. One Sabbath, when Jesus went to eat in the house of a prominent Pharisee, he was being carefully watched. There in front of him was a man suffering from an abnormal swelling on his body. Jesus asked the Pharisee and experts of the law, "Is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath or not?" But they remained silent. So taking hold of the man, he healed him and sent him on his way. Then he asked them, "If one of your child or an ox falls into a well on the Sabbath day, will you not immediately pull it out?" And they had nothing to say. Jesus teaches them about seeking honor. When he noticed how the guests picked the places of honor at the table, he told them this parable. When someone invites you to a wedding feast, do not take the place of honor, for a person more distinguished than you may have been invited. If so, the host who invited both of you will come to you and say, "Give this person your seat." Then, humiliated, you will have to take the least important place. But when you are invited, take the lowest place, so that when your host comes, he will say to you, "Friend, move up to a better place." Then you will be honored in the presence of all the other guests. For those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted. Then Jesus said to the host, "When you give a luncheon or dinner, do not invite your friends, your brothers or sisters, your relatives, or your rich neighbors. If you do, they may invite you back, and so you will be repaid. But when you give a banquet, invite the poor, the crippled, the lame, the blind, and you will be blessed. Although they cannot repay you, you will be repaid at the resurrection of the righteous." Jesus tells the parable of the great feast. When one of those at the table with him heard this, he said to Jesus, "Blessed is the one who will eat at the feast in the kingdom of God." Jesus replied, "A certain man was preparing a great banquet and invited many guests. At the time of the banquet, he sent the servant to tell those who had been invited, 'Come, for everything is now ready.' But they all alike began to make excuses. The first said, 'Oh, I just bought a field and I must go and see it. Please excuse me.' Another said, 'I have just bought 5 yoke of oxen and I'm on my way to try them out. Please excuse me.' Still another said, 'I just got married, so I can't come.' The servant came back and reported this to his master. Then the owner of the house became angry and ordered his servant, "Go out quickly into the streets and alleys of the town, and bring in the poor, the crippled, the blind, and the lame." "Sir," the servant said, "what you ordered has been done, but there is still room." Then the master told his servant, "Go out on the roads and country lanes and compel them to come in, so that my house will be full. I tell you, not one of those who were invited will get a taste of my banquet." Jesus teaches about the cost of being a disciple. Large crowds were traveling with Jesus, and turning to them, he said, "If anyone comes to me and does not hate father and mother, wife, children, brothers and sisters, yes, even their own life, such a person cannot be my disciple. And whatever does not carry their cross and follow me cannot be my disciple." Suppose one of you want to build a tower. Won't you first sit down and estimate the cost to see if you have enough money to complete it? For if you lay the foundation and are not able to finish it, everyone who sees it will ridicule you, saying, "This person began to build and wasn't able to finish." Or suppose a king is about to go to war against another king. Won't he first sit down and consider whether he is able with 10,000 men to oppose the one coming out against him with 20,000? If he is not able, he will send a delegation while the other is still a long way off, and will ask for terms of peace. If, in the same way, those of you who do not give up everything you have cannot be my disciples. Salt is good, but if it loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? If it is fit neither for the soil nor the manure pile, it is thrown out. Whoever has ears to hear, let them hear. That is the end of Luke 14. That is the end of today's new material. If this is where I leave you, thank you for joining me. I greatly appreciate you being here. If you'd like to continue to Proverbs 22, that's where I'm going next. Okay. Proverbs 22. A good name is more desirable than great riches. To be esteemed is better than silver or gold. Rich and poor have this in common. The Lord is the maker of them all. The prudent see danger and take refuge, but the simple keep going and pay the penalty. Humility is the fear of the Lord. His wages are riches and honor and life. In the paths of the wicked are snares and pitfalls, but those who would preserve their lives stay far from them. Start children off on the way they should go, and even when they are old, they will not turn from it. The rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is slave to the lender. Whoever shows injustice reaps calamity, and the rod they wield in fury will be broken. The generous will themselves be blessed, for they share their food with the poor. Drive out the mocker, and out goes strife. Quarrels and insults are ended. One who loves a pure heart and who speaks with grace will have the king for friend. The eyes of the Lord keep watch over knowledge, but he frustrates the words of the unfaithful. The sluggard says, "There's a lion outside. I'll be killed in a public square." The mouth of an adulterous woman is a deep pit. A man who is under the Lord's wrath falls into it. Folly is bound up in the heart of a child, but the rod of discipline will drive it far away. One who oppresses the poor to increase their wealth, the one who gives gifts to the rich will come to poverty. 30 sayings of the wise. Pay attention and turn your ear to the sayings of the wise. Apply your heart to which I teach. For it is pleasing when you keep them in the heart, and have all of them ready for your lips, so that your trust may be in the Lord. I teach you today, even you. Have I not written 30 sayings for you? Sayings of counsel and knowledge, teaching you to be honest and to speak the truth, so that you bring back truthful reports to those you serve. Saying 2. Do not exploit the poor because they are poor, and do not crush the needy in court, for the Lord will take up their case and will exact life for it. Saying 3. Do not make friends with a hot-tempered person. Do not associate with one easily angered, or you may learn their ways and get yourself ensnared. Saying 4. Do not be one who shakes hands in pledge, or puts up security for debt. If you lack the means to pay, your very bed will be snatched from under you. Saying 5. Do not move an ancient boundary stone set up by your ancestors. Saying 6. Do you see someone skilled in their work? They will serve before kings. They will not serve before officials of low rank. That is the end of today's readings. Thank you for joining me today. If you went through the whole thing, I appreciate that. I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.